All right. Hello, Deanna and Ramsey. Please give my audience a synopsis of your film Lucid and a sense of how they will likely experience the visuals of this film.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a
Uh,
feast for the eyes and ears for sure. Lucid is, it's about a young artist in the 1990s, and she's trying to create a self-portrait project. But she suffers a terrible creative block. She's really in her way. So she takes a magical dreaming elixir called Lucid that's in the shape of a little candy heart. And the idea is that it would break her creative blocks, and what it actually ends up doing is it unleashes all of her inner demons into real life monsters that she has to fight and deal with, where she ultimately becomes a better artist as she goes through the process.
And the visual world is we are evoking a very grungy 1990s with lots of celluloid texture and video overlays and dreamscapes of multiple layers and strange things going on all the time. So it visually we're trying to overload people as if their whole unconscious world has been upended and is crawling all around in front of them.
like, okay, lovely. Thank you so much for that. And how long did it take to create this visual language?
Well,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
we had a really interesting development process because um, we had our actress Caitlin Akin-Taylor move in with us when we were shooting. This
Oh,
is a very like community-driven film, and it was done by a small group of artists in Victoria, BC. But Caitlin was actually living in Scotland at the time. That's where she grew up, and she came to Canada, moved in with Ramsey and I for 5 months while we were shooting this film and preparing for it. And while we were in the development process, Caitlin actually helped us build her studio set, so her bedroom and everything. And she'd never even used like a saw before or anything like that, but she had learned to do this with us, and while we were getting the set ready. And that's where we really discovered that Mia's kind of a dirt bag as far as her like dirty fingernails, and her clothes were covered in paint. We thought it'd be fun for her to wear her wardrobe while we were decorating the set, and Caitlin was drawing on the walls, and all of this really informed her character, and how sticky she kind of is. She is like any art student, covered in charcoal and paint and materials. So that kind of kickstarted this like dirt and grunge and that kind of thing that we wanted to kind of play with. And that idea of permaculture really was big for us. And that's a thing in the 90s. And, you use what you have,
Yeah.
right? So we ended up, shooting in our home. So we kind of used the paint that we had in the basement, which was like red, green, and black, and we kind of went from there, and that became the color palette that we used.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say that we kind of work in a kind of collagey, hunter-gatherer way. And before the feature, we had actually Lucid was a short film, and so we had started. It ended up being kind of different, but we had started forging some element of the visual language from there. And I feel like with the short, we were leaning way more into kind of Giallo, and kind of we were really hooked on Giallo at that time. And I feel like we moved past that a little bit. We kind of landed more in the 90s. We were very intent on having this kind of grungy, textured world. I think it's safe to say Gus Van Sant was one of the influences, and those sort of Portland stories of kids, and that was a very important guiding element. That it couldn't be it could be pretty, but it had to feel handmade. It had to feel very rough and ready, and we didn't want to hide anything. It all had to be We wanted to be able to see the edges. We wanted to be able to see the edges of the film frame. We wanted to see the imperfections that exist in film. We wanted to see, video glitches, all of those things we deliberately embraced as part of the visual language.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. I was wondering, at any point, were there conversations about Herschel Gordon Lewis's film Color Me Blood Red?
Oh, Color Me Blood Red. Yes.
No.
Yeah, but
No.
mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but that's
awesome.
but that's an awesome.
Yeah.
That's like, it's so funny because sometimes people mention things like that, and you're like, oh yeah, you see that, but actually, that wasn't something that I was actually ever even I
But
think
it does.
consciously.
It is. You're right. That
But
is
you're totally right. There's like
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
We really hung up on the particular red in Suspiria.
Yes.
For the blood, and it became kind of a problem at a certain point where we're like, we really want in the color to kind of get this exact sort of candy, kind of sticky candy feel of the blood. And it's hard to get that color. Like, it turned out to be that red to be a thing. And we went back and forth between our colorists for a while until we just like landed on the most special,
we got there.
Bright red. But it was a passion, for us.
Yeah.
And that definitely was from Suspiria.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, you gotta love Suspiria. Maybe Color Me Blood Red was secretly like a subconscious
right?
I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
possibly.
We always have these.
Right?
Absolutely.
We always have these sort of secret. There's always these secret weird things that are like the touchstone. Like, actually, one of the things, I'm not sure you're familiar with it, but one of the secret influences in this film too is, I don't know if you know that weird YouTube series called "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared."
I don't know.
If you've ever seen that.
You should
It's
see
this crazy thing which has kind of felt puppets, and so
with gore.
but it's
Yeah.
gore.
Yeah.
And so that was a kind of a weird. It's sort of done like a British TV show where it's like, weird fuzzy animals sort of talking to each other, but then there's suddenly like organ meat. so if you get a chance,
So
don't hug me,
disturbing.
don't hug me, I'm scared.
Yeah.
It has a sort of very disquieting feel to
Yeah.
it, and that was another one of our weird
Daughters of
influences.
Darkness.
Daughters of Darkness.
Oh yeah, love Daughters of Darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
What would you say specifically for coming of age films that are good companion pieces with Lucid?
Oh, well, I guess that's so true, because it is like what we always sort of refer to her journey as a coming of monster feel. So we're definitely playing with the audience expectations in the very beginning of like, oh, this is coming.
It's going to be a nice movie.
Yeah,
where she's
okay.
I'm okay.
Fine,
I've got to struggle a little bit, but then she suddenly gets walloped by this.
Yeah.
by a crazy lucid dreaming elixir. And
definitely looking at Gus Van Sant's films for that tone, like that's an elephant and things like just sort of looking at I guess that pain of like late adolescence, where you really are searching so deeply for identity, and that's the main core, I think, of that opening sequence. Especially, it was where Mia's just really desperate to kind of figure out who she is, but she can't unpack it.
And she can't really connect with her fellow students. Like her friendship with the goth girls who turn her on to the lucid dreaming elixir. It's confusing because it's like, are they with
her? Are they against her?
Yeah. Are they sort of toxically enabling her into this, down this dark path? It's sort of hard to tell. So
that feels like that age for me, because it's like, who are your allies? Like, who's with you? And it's really like, it's hard to navigate.
Yeah.
Okay. What are some things that you think stifle artists of any age bracket?
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely, as speaking from experience, your own critical voices, definitely. That's the first obstacle that you face, that somehow, I don't know what it is, we are biologically wired to self-doubt, right? And it is how you navigate. First of all, you have to navigate the self-doubt. That's the first thing. And then secondly, you're suddenly confronted with with your peers who are questioning you, or your teachers, and then inevitably it comes down to your parents. And it's been very interesting in that over the last year, as we've been exhibiting the film and talking about, like, well, what are these critical voices? And some people are like, well, yeah, it's definitely my mom, or it's my dad, or it's some teacher, or it's something. There's always these voices that come up, and whether they're internal. First of all, it seems to be they're internal, but sometimes those external voices become internalized. And then they kind of form this crazy chorus of like, you can't do this, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. And then you're beset by all kinds of crazy problems.
Yeah, and I feel like, you're, as an artist, you think that when you hit a block, that it's just your own personal problem, your own personal obstacle. But I honestly think that that's part of the artistic process. These blocks, they're supposed to make you pause and dig deeper. So I think that if you hit a block, that you shouldn't maybe necessarily think like this is a nightmare, as Mia sort of figures out as she keeps going, as she keeps opening the doors, she gets further and deeper into more of her truth and where she really needs to draw from. And some of those places she has to go, there's a door because it's a warning. It's like, when you go through this door, you're going to go through something difficult. It's a challenge. So to kind of see them differently, to see these blocks as being like an opportunity, something that maybe you wouldn't have thought of before, that it makes you be creative about your solution around it, But I think that some people reach a block and they give up. So it's perseverance. And I think that in our film, that's really like, it's Mia's journey is about perseverance, and she never gives up. She does a lot of things really badly, but the one thing that she does do is she has a drive to make this project to the way that she wants. And as an artist, I think that that's really the thing, is if you don't feel compelled to do something, it's hard to really understand that process. As an artist, I feel like with the movie, we felt really driven and pulled by the movie at some points. Like Ramsey and I always felt like Lucid was pulling us by the face.
Pulling us by the face, for sure. Yeah.
So yeah,
but at the same time, we know that we needed that friction, that resistance. Those were the things that enable you to get up and over.
Yeah.
Right? Like you always need to have special. That. If you that, and that's the joke about the lucid dreaming elixir, in that you take it and suddenly, those conflicts, I'll just get rid of those and suddenly I'll be content and I'll be fulfilled as an artist. Yeah, and that is never going to happen. And it's not the point. The point is that friction, and then having to work through that friction so that you can then move on to the next situation where there will be further friction. The friction never ends.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that.
That's right. And it shouldn't, because if you're feeling completely comfortable, like what kind of art is that then? Yeah. You should always be feeling kind of vulnerable and your heart's broken open. Otherwise, like what kind of art is that? You know?
Yeah.
God, so many interesting thoughts here. How would you explain the performances for people who haven't seen the film?
Well, one of the special things about the movie is that there's a lot of music in our film, and in the actors that are singing live on camera or playing music it's all live recorded. We had an incredible composer, Marta Jakubik McKeever, and she insisted that everybody do it live. And at a certain point, we were like, "Oh, that's going to be really hard for us."
That's crazy. That's not how we're supposed to do this. And she's like, "No, you have to do it like that.
Otherwise, it's going to suck. It'll fake, and it's not real. And if we're going to be punk rock, let's go for it." And it really, I think, is what makes the movie really special, because it does feel real, and it changes the vibe completely. Don't you think?
Totally.
Absolutely.
And then I think just to add to that with some of the other performances too, is that being in we're on Vancouver Island, which is sort of off the beaten track. We're not in the epicenter of Vancouver or the sort of major production centers. So the people that we worked with you know, for the most part, were not professional actors at all, and in some cases had never actually been on screen at all.
Yeah.
And so working with non-actors was also a really interesting challenge, but we just loved it. And so we were able to draw, instead of a, you know, stable of actors, we drew upon artists and musicians and people that had a sort of sense of artistry and knew how to perform in a certain way, but that weren't necessarily were not necessarily actors. Caitlin being the exception, who was like, but even Caitlin actually, more than anything, Caitlin is the dancer. Caitlin can do anything, but Caitlin's, you know, the amazing thing about her performance is that so much of it is rooted in her physicality, right? And so she can always default to this incredible screen presence because of her dance training.
Yes,
and that was something that we were just, time and again, we were just completely overwhelmed by how awesome her performance was.
Yeah, and we found that, you know, in casting, if you can find people that seem to, I don't know, if you can imagine, like when you're a little kid and you can play with another kid and play a game, like a pretend game, like these are the
rules.
Yeah, like, can someone pretend? Do they have that kind of empathy? Like Amber Dandelion, who plays the mother, she had never done any acting before, but she's actually a psychic medium. So she has like a really strong sense of empathy, which is so perfect for an actor because it's like a vibe that you're feeling. And I think it makes our film, again, unique, because some of these performances that are coming from people they're really cool. It's like a different way to approach it.
Yeah.
Wow, this is great. This is so much fun talking to you too. Did you enjoy your Fantasia Fest experience last year?
We love Fantasia, and it is, like, I think, essential to where Lucid is at now. They have been so important to our journey as filmmakers, and we had our short film play at Fantasia, and then we were invited to a shorts to features development lab, which was such a great way for us to kind of go into the feature. And then we had our world premiere at Fantasia, which was amazing, totally incredible, to have that audience there, and really like a vulnerable experience for us as
also
filmmakers.
too. As much as it's a celebratory moment when you finally got your film there, we were quite surprised to be suddenly, afterwards, it felt like we had been stripped naked. An entire room of people.
But what a better place to have that
an amazing
feeling.
With the most like incredibly supportive, rambunctious crowd, meowing and cheering and everything. It was absolutely a wild experience.
It was really wild.
I'm glad. I'm so happy to hear that. So will you be attending more screenings of the movie?
Yes, we're in the middle of a crazy whirlwind tour right now, and we kind of are feeling quite inside out because we just got back from Korea. We were at the Busan Film Festival, and it was fantastic. And then we've done.
I think that was our last. I think that's our last. I think that was our last film festival. I think we can say BFUN. I mean, maybe something else, but I think that BFUN was our last film festival.
And then we came straight to Hamilton and then Toronto last night, which is incredible.
We're in Toronto.
We're to
now.
Montreal today.
Nice.
So we'll have 2 screenings coming up in Montreal, and then and there's one going on in Saskatoon at the Broadway Theatre with our actor Bobby Cleveland on the 11th, which is a really cool looking theater. And then we're gonna probably go back to the West Coast and have one on Salt Spring Island, which is where the film was partly shot, and where I used to live. So be kind of a homecoming sort of screening as well. So and then we're gonna go do an American tour at the Alamo Drafthouse Cinemas. We're picked up by Dark Star as distribution, and they're gonna get us out doing some US cities as well.
That's great. I love to hear it. What is your favorite film of 2026 so far?
Oh, that's hard. I mean, like I saw Backrooms, and that was really, really fun. That was a blast. And God, we've seen so many great movies.
So many
too,
great
on
movies.
on the road.
We just saw Surat. Surat.
Yeah,
I love
it's
Surat.
amazing.
Surat was a really
Yeah.
that was a really incredible film. I mean, it had that as far as like a movie that just creates a world, you know, like the world of that rave culture, the world being in the desert. It was sort of like this a sort of stripped down Mad Max feel. I thought that was, and also shot on film. It was also had that texture that I just love so much. So I think
absolutely.
that one sort of at least sticks in mind.
So good.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, great picks. Well, thank you so much for your time. Is there a final message you have for my audience today about Lucid?
Oh, I guess like, yeah, check it out for sure. And we're hoping to release like a hard copy at some point. Like we're working on some VHS tapes, which I think will be really fun to extend the analog world for a little while for Lucid before we stream anywhere. Like you can only see it in a theater or watch it on VHS. But you know, eventually we'll stream. But if you like the movie, like, you know, do us a favor and do a letterbox review or tell your friends, because it's hard to get the word out about Canadian film.
Yeah.
And even if you're listening to this podcast or tuning into this stuff, thank you for doing
Yeah,
that.
we're so grateful for that.
Yeah.
We need all the help.
If we don't, it'll go away. So
Yeah.
go see your movies in the cinemas. These cinemas are
We
amazing.
love these little cinemas.
Yeah.
We know
They need support.
They need support. We know they're in
Yeah.
peril. And
Yeah.
so
Get out, see a movie. It's
see
so
a
good for your
movie.
soul.
It's so good for your soul. And it's also, you know, just our experience of seeing Lucid with a live audience. It's a totally different experience. It's a totally different experience. And then it also is a different experience. Every single theater that we attend, it's a different experience because it's a different crowd.
Yeah.
And so go on out, see it in the theater if you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. Take care. Okay. Bye. Thank you.